I do hate to start on a sad note, but I just want to take a minute to acknowledge the passing of our former colleague and friend Joanne Schiffers, who we said goodbye to last week. Joanne served as the town clerk in Tyngsborough for over 20 years. For a shorter period before that, she was the assistant town clerk, but of course, her service to Tyngsborough goes far beyond that. She served on the Finance Committee, the Zoning Board of Appeals, as well as the committee that planned the Tyngsborough Bicentennial in 2008. She was a dedicated volunteer at Festival of Trees and Block Party. I think between her and her husband, they probably annually did hundreds of hours between both events. She was the money person, and even in retirement, she was also my source of macaroni and cheese here at Town Hall. So she lived in Tyngsborough with her husband, Mark, and they raised their two kids, Andrew and Danielle, in Tyngsborough. So we are incredibly sad to have lost Joanne, but I think that if you walk around here, you can see the lasting legacy that she's left behind. So I just wanted to start by acknowledging her passing.
Thank you.
Shout out to Miss McCoy's 4th grade class at Tyngsborough Elementary School on being selected as the winner for this year's MassDOT Name-A-Plow competition. Their name, Flake May, is proudly displayed on a District 4 snowplow this winter. So while paying attention to the road, if you're driving down Route 3, you may see the plow. Today is the first day of the fiscal year 26 Senior Tax Work-Off program. We've placed participants in 9 different departments, and the work that they'll do for the town ranges from filing to greeting residents to digitizing documents and much more. The program continues to be an incredible resource for the town and for our residents, and I'm grateful to all the departments who participate every year. As we start the new year, there are a handful of new laws that will go into effect here in the Commonwealth of particular interest to Tyngsborough. There's a new law that requires that any individual who operates a motorboat or other personal watercraft in the state complete a boating safety education course. This can be done online or in person, and the Department of Conservation and Recreation can provide information for those looking to complete the course. If you were born after January 1st, 1989, you have until April 1st of this year to complete the course. If you were born before January 1st, 1989, you have 2 additional years to complete the course. Hopefully this will help mitigate some of the reckless and dangerous boating activity that we've seen on Lake Muscuppick. It is enforceable by any law enforcement agency, so when we have the Marine Patrol out with Tyngsborough Police, as well as the Environmental Police. And so you'll have to have that certificate of completion on you when you're operating on a public body of water. On January 2nd, 2026, so-called cannabis cafes became permitted in the Commonwealth. These establishments allow adults to consume cannabis products at a licensed facility. Before one can open, a city or town must proactively adopt zoning that permits them. The reason I mention this is because Tyngsborough does not have compatible zoning, and so the consumption of cannabis on premise is still illegal and not permissible here in Tyngsborough. On a staffing front, I'm happy to share the promotion of Jacqueline Schnackerts from Executive Assistant to the Town Manager to the position of Director of People and Culture. Jackie has served in the Town Manager's office since 2022, and in that time has completely revamped our licensing process, the Senior Tax Work-Off program, and the annual town report. In fact, that's resulted in Tyngsborough being recognized twice now for our annual town report through the MMA's annual town report competition. The 2024 one, so the one we just finished, received first place this year. So at the MMA conference at the end of the month, we'll get that prize for Jackie. Jackie's also served as a member of the Board of Selectmen and of the Government Study Committee. She brings an incredible experience in process improvement, constituent services, and an unmatched familiarity with our staff to the new role. We've also been fortunate that she benefited from being able to work alongside Bridget for the last few weeks to ensure a smooth transition. Today is Jackie's first day in her new role, which is why she is noticeably absent. But on a positive front, I will no longer now confuse Jackie and Jackie. We've only got one Jackie in the room. Last week, Police Chief Sean Woods issued commendations to Officer Sean Caron, Sergeant Nathan Abdallah, and Detective Bethany Bonzar for outstanding service and professionalism. Officer Caron is commended for his off-duty efforts to rescue a man who was in medical distress during a unique and dangerous situation. Sergeant Abdallah is commended for his work to end a multi-jurisdictional pursuit through the use of stop sticks and ultimately for de-escalating the situation and bringing the subject into custody without injury to that subject or others. And finally, Detective Bonzar was recognized for her work leading a large-scale fraud investigation involving more than $800,000 and which resulted in a federal indictment and guilty plea. Chief Woods is on your agenda for your January 26th meeting with a few new hires, and so I'm sure he'll go into more detail about that, but obviously some incredible work.
Great.
And then just a few reminders and upcoming events. The Fire Station Building Committee announced last week a series of public information sessions to help bring the public along with our progress on the schematic design of a new fire department headquarters. The first one is this Wednesday in this room at 5 p.m. That's going to be ahead of our regular 6 p.m. Fire Station Building Committee. Also on Saturday, we have a kind of rolling information session from 10 to 12 at the Old Town Hall, and we're also doing station tours. So you can stop by the Old Town Hall, view the presentation, and then go get tours, or simply get tours if you don't want to see my presentation. But if you go to TyngsboroughMA.gov, they're on the town's calendar. There's an infographic on social media, and we have physical flyers that are hanging up in the library and at the Center for Active Living. Bingo returns this week to the Center for Active Living. Join us on Wednesday, January 7th for evening bingo. Doors open at 5:30 and the game starts promptly at 6:30. The next installment is on January 21st. The Council on Aging will host a paint and sip with non-alcoholic beverages on Wednesday, January 28th at 6 p.m. at the Center for Active Living. And the Health Department and Town Clerk's Office will host the second rabies vaccine clinic and dog licensing event on Saturday, February 21st from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. at Ironwood Park. That's in the new clubhouse. So if you haven't seen it yet, a good opportunity to see it. Walk-ins are welcome, or you can visit TyngsboroughMA.gov to register ahead of times. Dogs must be on a leash and cats in a carrier, and the cost for a vaccine is $20.